Hello, welcome to PODnas. This is a sports show with a Southern flair. I'm Daniel Hawks. This is Jarrett Roser. Today, we are going to recap LSU's victory versus Arkansas, a little bit of college football updates from the state of Louisiana. We've got the weekly top plays and a special episode of The Blender coming up at the end. Jarrett, how are you doing today? It was a long time coming to get this intro down.
Yeah, I mean, depending on how much you want to unpack it, it took you a few tries this morning on Tuesday morning. My internet was a dumpster fire on Monday, and so I'm just really torn of whether to dive back into the jokes about, at the expense of England and the UK as a country, or just jump into how frustrated I am by the internet. But I'm glad we're smooth sailing this morning.
Yeah, I mean, it also makes sense. I'm wearing the Saints hat that we're having so many issues of stuff that's just out of our control. So let's just hop into it. How about that? Let's just get into it. So let's recap this LSU win. LSU beats Arkansas 34, not 44, 34 to 10. It besides, a little bit in the first half where it was tight, like LSU just really took control of this game. I know you went to the BK presser yesterday. What was the vibe like? What was BK's vibe? Was he chill? Was he, was he hanging? Was he nervous? Was he happy? Was he horny? I don't know. What was it like?
I'm not. No, no part of anything that you just did will I address.
Oh, what about just addressing the BK presser yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, it was a nice little Monday over there at Football Ops, and I think you're just seeing this team come together in a way that, one of the stories I wrote Monday was Kelly. He has little acronyms and stuff. He doesn't necessarily talk about the quote unquote three C's, but 3 C words that he uses a lot are consistency.
Oh, wait, can I guess? Hold on, wait. You gave me one. Okay.
All right.
Consistency.
That's a free space.
Yeah, carousel and cucaracha.
Wow.
Yeah, how'd it go?
Great guesses. You got the free space. So consistency, cohesiveness. I was so worried you were going to mess me up. And looking for complementary football. And those have been talking points all season long. And early in the season, it felt like, I'm not going to say distant goals that they were trying to attain, but certainly something that they were falling notably short of, and still, even in wins, not where they wanted to be, reaching towards some of those standards. And it's starting to feel like the last couple of weeks we're seeing actual examples, flashes of this team hitting those marks a little bit more effectively. Certainly seasons long, everything's always a work in progress. You've got to keep doing it every week. I mean, as consistency speaks to, but in terms of the consistency within units and the consistency for 4 quarters and consistency of seeing a couple of really nice SEC performances the last couple of weeks, and just having a level of balance where, if it's not Garrett Nussmeier's best game, the running game is starting to come along a little bit. You're seeing some level of balance in the secondary coming along and defending the pass, as well as, getting after the passer up front and run fitting better than what we saw at times earlier this season. And so you're seeing a team that is starting to look like a legitimate playoff contender in a really meaningful way in an era of college football where, we saw it this weekend. Anyone can be inconsistent and a little bit down on any given week. It's not quite the same of years past where there's a team or two that's just going to be a machine every week out. And so LSU looks very much in the mix of a team in the country that can compete with anybody on any given Saturday right now if they keep playing to this standard.
A couple notes I took. Weeks on defense. He's just like
goodness.
Yeah, just amazing. That batted ball down. No.
Yeah,
that batted ball to almost a touchdown, which I don't know who was right by him. I thought he was going to be able to keep him upright and just toss him into the end zone.
Yeah, it was him and Major Burns were both there.
Yeah.
And for a second, I thought Major was going to catch the interception, but there was just a lot happening really quickly. And then Witt catches it on his fingertips. And honestly, I don't know how that's not the play of the week at every level. Just a lot going on there for Witt, looping around the edge and bringing that pressure, getting to the quarterback in a hurry, having the wherewithal to make the leaping deflection, and then also locate the ball and catch it as he did. He's been unreal the last couple of weeks. And I mean, we'll probably get into it a little bit, but the way the defense is playing, we talked about when Harold Perkins went down, were some of the linebackers that they had, like a Whit Weeks, better equipped to handle some of what they were asking the linebackers to do. I think, some of that becomes a really interesting conversation at this point in the year. But the thing that caught my attention just now that I wanted to point out to you, because I know some of the nickname game takes a little while to trickle its way up the Mississippi, up your way.
Does.
They are, in the last couple of weeks, calling Whit Weeks the Honky Badger, which is absolutely phenomenal.
Yes. Oh my God. I can't wait to bring that to people here. Oh my goodness gracious. Great balls of fire. Oh my gosh. I can't wait. Let's go. The Honky Badger?
Yeah.
Hold on,
The way he's playing right now.
I need a moment. I need a moment. Okay, I'm back. That was amazing. That's absolutely great. Another one of my notes I wrote down was it's really nice to see this LSU team just take care of business, and like that kind of business mentality that we talked about last week. That is coming through. And as someone who's only really watching the games, I'm not as in it as you are. Following, going to the pressers, everything like that, being around people that are around the team, not that, but it is very evident to see how far this team has come from the beginning of the year and that loss to USC. So, and that almost lost to other USC. So,
yeah, I mean, across the board, they had a 2.5 quarter sleepwalk in a lot of ways, or just, not a clean performance against Nicholls State. A lot of what we saw the first month of the season, there were reasons to be concerned about shortcomings you were seeing in different areas of the field, but they just have continued to trust their process and grit forward through it and aim for those standards, and they're getting awfully close now to reaching hitting those marks.
Yep. And it's going to be at Texas A&M. I wouldn't be surprised if either game day or someone is there, because it is number 8 versus number 14. It's going to be a tough game. I mean, this Texas A&M team is tough as well. And so I know last week we talked so much about looking forward. I think a lot of those concerns for me were kind of put to bed with how this team is approaching stuff.
Yeah, and I felt more concerned about this trip to A&M, in terms of just trying to step back and know it was going to be 2 tough road trips. But this was the one that concerned me a little bit more, just watching Arkansas thus far and the way LSU has come on. The thing that really worried me about LSU was just, were we going to see the consistency of that run defense? I thought what we saw the last couple of weeks was really encouraging, that if they played that way, that they would be able to handle Arkansas fairly well. And it was just a matter of, okay, do we see that same performance travel? And we did. And so that was really encouraging. They now have to obviously take it to College Station and into a matchup that I think poses a little bit more, complexity of problems for you. And so I still think LSU is, and we'll talk about this later in the week, I still think they're the team to beat. But every week out right now, I'm more and more encouraged about, okay, we saw it go this way, and now I can trust that much more that it's probably going to look similar to that next time out.
Absolutely. I hope the Aggie fans are practicing their cheers.
Yeah, it's not midnight yet, so they.
Oh my God. Can I just go off on a little rant? I hate that so much. You have to go practice your cheers. You have to practice them. You have to sit on a Friday at midnight and practice what you're going to do when you get into a stadium. I think it's the stupidest thing in the world.
There's nothing about what they do that I think is good. Let's just Let's just say that. I guess the practice angle is great. Whatever the little let me drop the most absurd joke and then like woo or whatever the hell the guys with the mic. I try to stay as far away from it because it is so cringeworthy at every turn.
It is.
I
And
hate it
also
all.
that their hand sign is just a thumbs up. Like, come on. You had 4 other phalanges to deal with. Okay. You didn't have to just go with the short, stubby one. Oh, I hate it. I hate
There's
it.
so
I hate
many
it.
options, so much room for
There's so many.
activities to
Yeah,
do
actually,
things.
they had 9. They could have done so many things.
But these are the people that need to practice their cheers. So in
Yeah,
terms of
that's
just
is true. That is true.
yeah.
All right. Enough shading Texas A&M for now. I'm not going to say we're
For
going to
now.
stop. For now. For now. Let's roll through some of these other games that happened this weekend. UL took care of business. Brian Wildridge had 373 yards and 3 touchdowns. Dude
Yeah,
was
Ben
just
was
Sorry,
unreal.
Ben. Excuse me.
We know a Brian
Yeah,
Woolridge or
that's where
Woolridge or whatever. Just
that's
yeah.
exactly where it went. So
So it's not up yet. It might be up by the time that this is up. But Ben is the Louisiana versus all y'all college offensive player of the week. Just absolutely phenomenal performance, and another week in which the Cajuns went on the road. And every response that home team had, every punch that home team threw, the Cajuns had the next one ready and score the last 10 points of that game to close strong on the road. Really encouraging from them for sure.
yeah, more like in the middle of land, Carolina. You know what made them?
Is that your burn?
Yeah.
The A&M burn was so much better.
I know it's so much better, but listen, I'm not the best. So
all right. Well, look, Tulane had a rough showing against Rice. It was 10-10 in the fourth before they score a couple touchdowns. What's your burn for the Rice Owls? Are we doing this for all of them?
Yeah. My burn is like more. Bet it's looking fried, Bryce.
Yep. I think that's better than the Coastal one. But yeah, not the performance you wanted to see from the Green Wave against the Owls, but
I thought you were gonna say me.
yeah, also true. True. Same. The Green Wave recognizes that it wasn't to their standard against a team that I told people this week I didn't necessarily think they were going to roll through Rice the way they did against UAB, but I thought it could get pretty ugly, and it was a very close game into the fourth quarter. Another weird early kickoff for Tulane, but you know what? They got the W and keep moving on forward in the American.
Absolutely. And Southern went ahead and beat Alcorn State. And also, we're recording this on Tuesday. Louisiana Tech will play UTEP tonight. They played last Tuesday too, so they have 2 Tuesday games in a row.
They have another 1 or 2 this season too. Like they have a lot of weird Tuesday schedule that when I was looking at, was I going to get a chance to maybe ride up to Ruston at some point on like an LSU bye or an LSU road week and see the Bulldogs? I just kept seeing Tuesdays that I knew I wasn't going to make. So yeah, weird point in their schedule. You mentioned Southern with the win. Grambling gets a win against Pine Bluff. McNeese fell to Incarnate Word. Southeastern beat Stephen F. Austin.
Are you serious? That joke name of a school just won something.
I cruised through that. Incarnate Word is a solid Southland team, man. They've been up there around the top of the conference for a few years now.
Not in the name rankings. In the name rankings,
okay.
they're bottom 5.
We'll look at that at some point and actually hash them out. And then, you know, a couple of in-state schools playing. Nicholls State shuts out Northwestern State 20-0. Wanted to just say Jake Delmato, former Archbishop Hannon Hawk star, ends up with 3 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 10 tackles total, a fumble recovery. And so he was a guy, Whit Weeks and Aiden Huntington, who had a great game for Tulane in that defensive effort. Those are kind of the 3 finalists for college defensive player of the week that I'm talking with some coaches about and trying to figure it all out. But shout out to Jake and the Colonels and those guys down the bayou.
Very nice. Very nice. I think we should listen. This is hard for me because I don't want to I don't want to sound too excited because we're about to get into the college plays of the week, high school plays of the week. I can't even get the thing right. We're gonna do the plays of the week. Let's do it. I wish you had a graphic there that was just like plays of the week, but maybe I can do that. We'll see.
Yeah, where's your skill level at on the graphics
it's
right now?
It's very novice. I'm very still learning stuff. So thank you.
You're pretty good at typing the school names for the most part, and so you got that part down, the typing of words.
Yeah. You know.
Yep. So we got 4 top play candidates as always to choose from this week, and we will start with one up in the Shreveport area that is, a same school as one that we saw last week. Peyton Houston throwing a pass here to Jaden Hicks, and Jaden making a hell of a grab to hang on. Despite the hit from Benton's Jonathan Hollis.
Oh my God, will you play that again?
Yeah, Peyton to Jaden Hicks.
Oh.
Quite frankly, kind of a double play in terms of the hit by Jonathan Hollis and then hanging on to it by Jaden Hicks. That's another video from Roy Lang III up there with the Shreveport Bossier Advocate, good friend of the channel, and I mean whatever else you want to say, but
he's a PODnas pal.
Yeah, sure, we can do that. The second straight week we have an Evangel play. This time the Eagles get a big win over Benton up there in a absolutely bonkers 1-5A typically. And then I think this is a first so far through this. The next 3 plays, I just pulled plays from 3 games that I was covering. So the credits go to me for the next 3.
I'll make sure to credit you on the social.
That's unnecessary. But the first play.
No.
From the Thursday night game I went to out at Church Point, Northwest visiting its rival Church Point, and early in the second quarter in a 1-score game, Devon Thibodeau with the pink sleeves right there off the edge, hits the quarterback, knocks the ball free. His teammate Kylan Syria scoop and score a long, long way.
That man is fast. On the scamper? Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Kylan's got some 2-way background to his game, and Devon was just an absolute menace there for Northwest off the edge all night long. Really underrated 2025 prospect. You see the play there, and
I think though I don't want to say my favorite part, but like did you see the quarterback? After it's Kylan, is that the correct name?
Scooped. Yeah, Kylan.
After who hit him?
Devon.
After Day hit him, the quarterback like just looked at him, and it looked like he was looking over at him, but it was more like are you serious? And then he saw what was happening, and the man hung his head and just had to walk off the screen in I've had that walk off before. It's not fun.
Devon has a little bit of college attention going. I think he's someone that has a chance to be a steal for a school this year, a district defensive MVP a year ago. And that was a really big win for Northwest, who went on a hell of a playoff run last year after losing this matchup. That was the last loss for them before they started to string some things together. And this was their first win in that series against their 4-3A rival since 2018. So it had been a while since they had been on the right side of it, and now can kind of spring forward from that. Friday, then I go down to the River Parishes and go see Lutcher versus E.D. White, a big top 5 matchup between 2 4A schools, and 3 touchdowns that night by Cajuns commit Trenton Cheney. This the best of the bunch, probably. Some elusiveness, shakes off a tackler, and then is just gone for 93 yards, flashing the track speed.
Bye. Oh man, again, I hope he buys me a cup on his trip. He is so far gone. I hope he sees like a little coffee mug that's like from that touchdown area, that touchdown gift shop that they have over there in Lutcher.
I mentioned he's a Cajuns commit. He had a long, I think it was 58-yard touchdown reception up this same sideline that I was standing on. He had a goal line touchdown in the third quarter, I believe. And then this one was early in the fourth to stretch the lead. Big win for the Bulldogs against Edie White. They stay undefeated right now on the season. And you saw a lot of what the Cajuns like in what Trenton Chaney brings to the equation. Probably a slot receiver at the next level, but he's a guy that really has been all over the field in his high school career. And so he was pretty funny. I mean, folks want to watch the interview with him after the game too, when he talked about breaking free there and said, you know, what were you thinking when you see that green? He said, oh, I knew that white boy wasn't catching me. I was going. And I kind of, if it hadn't been on television and everyone else around getting sort of the same clip, I might have questioned, you know, do I even put this up? But it was out there at that point. And it was what it was. And he wasn't lying. He was not even a little lying.
No, he wasn't. And to be honest, I don't know if the race of that that kid mattered. I don't know if anyone was going to catch him there.
No, look, Trenton's got whatever it is, 100 meter speed. He's legitimate track fast once he can break into some open space, and you saw it there.
Absolutely.
And then wrapping it up, I was at a crazy overtime game Saturday between St. Aug and Rummel. Rummel coming out on top with a couple of plays by sophomores in overtime. Shout out interception by Tyrus Franklin to keep the Purple Knights off the board. And Tyrus also with a big smile when I saw him and said he'd been following me in Louisiana Versailles for a long time and look forward to maybe one day doing an interview. And so Saturday was that day. And then Corian Hawkins with the touchdown run to win the thing for the Raiders. But this game had so many plays. I felt like I could have just picked the top 4 from this game alone. And I went with one that really impressed me by senior defensive back Lester Johnson of the Rummel Raiders, where you watch him over to the left, the far left, the blitz off the corner, hits the quarterback, knocks the ball free, and he's the guy that goes and then tracks it down on the far side of the field for a really big recovery that ends up setting up a field goal that they needed to get that game into overtime, to stretch their lead at that point. And again, big Catholic League game, going to overtime, getting the win. And Lester Johnson, one of the top plays of that, the one that I picked, just really impressed with, similar to the Whit Weeks play, the wherewithal after making one play to go
make another immediately. We love
really nice job.
Hey, so you can go vote for our plays of the week. They're going to be up on our Instagram. That is PODnas_LA. We are going to announce that winner at the end of the week. Next up, we are going to go into one of my favorite segments. It's the blender. Oh, noise everywhere. There's cheering and just general excitement in the air. I can't believe it. I love it so much.
Wow. Noise everywhere. Noise over here and over there.
Oh, yeah. Look at all this noise. The cheering and fawning over the blender.
Really big day for Daniel with the high school plays of the week, the blender, the start of the NBA season, just a lot going on.
It's a big day. So let's start with some NBA news. All right. Trey Murphy for the Pelicans just got an extension. Pelicans are going to play the Chicago Bulls tomorrow night on Wednesday. We're recording this on Tuesday right now. Jared, first give me your thoughts on this, and then I want to give you mine because I have a couple, and we can just make this a general NBA start of the season type thing.
Yeah, I loved it. I figured that the Pels would get this deal done. It happened on the timeline right ahead of the deadline. Those last 2 or 3 days before the deadline are kind of when all of these start to hit rapid fire around the league. And so Monday, seeing the number of 4 years for 112, I love the stability, the security of knowing that Trey Murphy is locked in for the next several years. I really like the number. When you're talking about an average of $27 million a year for a guy that is going to be what I think Trey is going to be as a player as he continues to develop, and a guy that they really need to find more and more ways to be a bigger and bigger part of this team and this offense in particular. I think a lot to like about where they landed on that, as well as, we know the NBA. And so great player, also a great asset at that number moving forward too. And so we'll see how it all plays out. I hope Trey is a lifelong Pelican, and I'm excited about him at that number. But I think there are a lot of avenues and angles to this for sure.
Yeah, I think then that was my biggest takeaway as well. I love the thought of getting Trey Murphy locked down. That extension and that number that he's at looks so good that I just feel like he's, instead of BI, probably the main trade candidate that we're going to be looking at. If we're talking about, which I think will happen, the Pelicans are going to need to add some size from somewhere at some point in time. I don't know how much, like Herb Jones, whenever whenever the Pelicans are playing Jokic, that's not going to be fun. It's not going to be fun when they play Embiid, when they play Şengün, when they play someone who's an actual center, who has a lot of talent. That we're sending out, that they're sending out a 6'7", 6'8" guy. And until BI, starts to play up to that contract that he got, and there are also those other financials that go along with trading him. It just makes me worried that Trey Murphy's not going to be in a Pelicans jersey by the end of the season.
I really hope that that's not the case. I don't know in terms of timeline of when he could be traded, if it's a this season concern type thing or next offseason or whatever. But Trey is one of the core pieces of this team in terms of what I like and what I kind of see for the future, that I hope that he is a part of it long term. I do obviously, though, agree with you in terms of at some point they're going to need to figure out adding some size, ideally finding a way to add some size this season. But right now, this team is, I had another reporter, I don't remember where I was in terms of high school or LSU or whatnot, but was asking me about the Pels. And I said, I thought they were kind of constituted right now as a really interesting kind of boomer bust curveball type matchup for a lot of teams, where there's going to be some nights where if they can dictate it and run some of those teams that have bigger guys, that it can be something that can work to their advantage.
Yeah.
But that there were also going to be some nights where they were just dominated down low, and particularly when you get to the playoffs is when this is going to be an issue, and when you have to deal with one of these teams with a legit big over the course of 7 games. And obviously we want this team to take some steps in terms of their postseason success, not just a great regular season. And so I have a lot of excitement for this team and think it is going to be a lot of fun to watch one way or another. But in terms of taking some next steps, something's going to have to happen at some point, unless you see Yves Missi take a huge jump really early in his career.
Right. Absolutely. I think that this Pelicans team has some of the widest range of outcomes of any of the teams coming into this NBA season, which you just kind of touched on anyway. But with all the wings and Zion, I feel like the small ball is going to be real, and it could be really, really fun to watch. Like you said, could really take advantage of some teams like night. Well, we know it's not going to be a back-to-back, but you play the 76ers and you make Joel Embiid get out on a bunch of 3-point shooters and run around a bunch. The man's going to get tired. He can't even play back-to-backs anymore,
Well, he's not playing he and PG are both missing the opener. And so that's just kind of the starting point for these guys right now. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, wish folks health and wealth and all those things. But in terms of concerns for the Sixers fans, they're not exactly sated to start this season.
But I really feel like this team does have a good road in front of it to get into the playoffs and maybe get through a round. The West is just such a gauntlet still. There's just so much there. The East, there's so much uncertainty about which teams besides the Celtics, besides New York, that are really going to be good, and how good they're going to be. Are the Magic going to take another jump? Are the Cavs going to are Mobley and Jared Allen probably finally going to be able to play together? The West is just stacked. It's stacked. Would love to say that I think the Pelicans could be a top 5 team, and I think they could, but that road is harder than what it would be if they were actually in the East, where they are further east than Chicago, who is in the East.
They were knocking at the door of first round home court advantage really, really deep into last season, even with some of the ups and downs along the way. And so you just see how tightly congested the middle of the Western Conference can get. And this season, I mean, who's bad? Portland, obviously. The Clippers, I think, take a huge step back, and they're toward the bottom. The Spurs are probably still not quite there, but we've seen.
But they're going to be better. I mean, the Spurs are not going to be just an easy out. And we saw in the Olympics that Wemby's starting to figure this stuff out. And as soon as that really fully takes a hold, like, that's another team. I mean, the league is just going to be put on notice very, very shortly.
Yeah, the Spurs dynamic of everything that we expect from Wemby because of what we've already seen from him in just his first year in the league, and knowing that he should be that much better this year, and then you add in, look, old as hell, but Chris Paul, already old as hell. We've seen the way he can turn teams around in terms of just getting a bunch of young guys to recognize what it takes to win at a high level in this league. And so adding him to these guys is big.
And Harrison Barnes got added too. You know, I'm not going to say that he's going to be like a absolute game changer, but he's won a ship and he's a veteran at this point. You know, he does know what it means to kind of do that and what it means to be in a really crappy franchise and just sit on the Kings for a bunch of years. So, but I know I just crapped on them, but the Kings aren't bad either. The Rockets could take a big step forward as well. Or the Rockets are another team where I feel like that, just like the Pelicans, the variance of outcomes is just all over the place. So obviously got to look at Minnesota. You have to look at Denver. You have to look at the Mavs. They're going to kind of stay strapped. Lakers, I will assume the Lakers will be good for a month. Everyone will get their hopes up and then they'll be really bad. LeBron will make them trade for someone and then it'll crash their season just like it has the last three. So feel like that's pretty set in stone. So we'll see what happens there. Memphis too. I mean, will Memphis bounce back? The West is just the parity that could happen in the West is one of my favorite things going into this NBA season.
Yep. Going to be a lot of fun starting. I mean, I don't know when we'll have this up and when people will be watching it, but I'm really looking forward to Minnesota versus the Lakers on the opening Tuesday.
Absolutely. We will have that up probably before that game gets started, just to let you guys get into the NBA spirit as we go there. But that is all we have for you today. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you stuck around this long, you can catch the PODnas podcast on the Louisiana versus All Y'all YouTube channel. You can also catch Louisiana recruiting interviews from Louisiana high school stars and college stars and coaches. And Jared has so much content on there. Go check it out. Like, share, comment on this video. We'd love to hear where we were right, where we were wrong. And if you like it, tell your friends. If you hate it, tell all your enemies. We get a view either way. We love to see it. Jared, do you have anything else before we get out of here?
No, that's it, man. Just a lot going on and, glad to chat about all of it with you and looking forward to the week ahead. Opening games of the NBA, football, of course, all those things, and appreciate everyone for tuning in.
And remember, go to the Instagram page to vote on the high school play of the week. It is PODnas_LA. Follow us there. You can follow me too. I think I'm tagged in a couple things if you want to see what my life's like. It's boring, but whatever.
You think his life is boring? Goodness.
Was that it?
Huh?
Was that it?
Look,
I thought you were going to go into more.
I was worried people were going to see yours and be like, what is this guy up to in Wicker Park up there in Wrigleyville and everything, bouncing around bouncing around the big city up there in Chicago. And if that was going to be the boring side, then it's a good thing that I don't really post on Instagram a whole hell of a lot anymore.
Okay, it might not be boring. I might have ADHD and let it control my life a bunch. So that is all we have for you today. Like I said, please check out every other thing that we have going on the YouTube channel and on Twitter and on Instagram. But that's it. That's all we got for you today. PODnas out. And this a ticket talking margin for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I've been comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma.